This brand new Tyler, the Creator album is a classic, but as of right now, it is not one yet. Let me explain, because Nationers, welcome back to a brand new episode of The Realest Podcast. Sal is right behind me. This is episode 80 of The Realest Podcast. Super happy to be 80 episodes in. It feels very surreal, especially every time that I go to script an episode. I have to, and obviously have to, change the episode number. And it feels weird because I just got a recommended video about the first ever episode that I launched with John Watkins, a great friend of mine. I helped do his engagement photos this year. He's going to be getting married, which is super awesome. He's a friend of mine that I met in college when I was doing track, and it's super awesome because he was my first ever guest. Like, when I created this podcast, I was like, man, there are like two people on this planet that I'm like, I really want on first to be my first guest, my first episode. And John, happily accepted that invitation, and he was my first ever episode. And I remember when I first recorded this, I recorded through like my Elgato Cam Link, I believe, and like I did it through my laptop, and like the footage was so crappy. So I had to make it an audio only. And unfortunately, and unfortunate as it is one of the, I think maybe the only one that is a true like audio podcast. Even if there is visuals, it is simply just like, it's simply just that. I wonder, I don't know if I would have done anything differently. I think that's a part of the journey, and I think everyone has a journey in their own right, especially with their own podcast, their content, their work, their job, their hobbies, whatever it may be. But all that to say, Nationers, it is great to see you guys back in here for another episode of this podcast, The Realest Podcast on the internet. It is truly The Realest Podcast. We talk about, and I feel like I could go into depth with more things that I feel are very pertinent, things that also obviously I enjoy. But of course, obviously when we do have guests like John, like others that we've had on this podcast, maybe one day Sal, I always want to get a very real interview, not just like, oh, like, what are your plans? Like, I want to get into the nitty gritty, like what makes you, like almost kind of dissecting someone in terms of their DNA, like what makes them, from anything that they've done. And all of that to say, we are 80 episodes into this podcast, and I cannot be more excited about the future of this podcast. More things to come, obviously, this year, and I hope that you guys can kind of see that with the recent uploads. Like, I even thought about today, I was like, I know I want to do this episode about Tyler, the Creator, and his brand new album, Don't Tap the Glass. It just came out this last Monday, but I was like, I don't know. Like, do I have time? I got to shower. I got to do this. I'm like, okay, I'm planning on streaming at some point today, which I'm going to stream like right after this. And I was like, you know what? I could script it here in like 30, 40 minutes, and we're right into it. But before we get into today's episode, I hope that you guys, first of all, enjoy. And if you guys do, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on this channel, on the YouTube channel. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the nation, the realest community on the internet. Again, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. To all of you guys listening on any audio platforms, thank you guys again so much for listening. Make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars. It's very much appreciated. But of course, it's The Realest Podcast. You could rate it whatever you would like. If it is a 1 star, then it lets me know I got to do a better job at what I'm doing. So let's get into what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about this brand new Tyler, the Creator album, because it came out this last Monday. I probably listened to this album 10 times through. It is that good, but originally I didn't have that same feeling. I didn't have that same feeling when it came out. It's a 30-minute album. It has 10 songs, 10 tracks, and I just kind of like, I was like, man, that's like an okay album. But the more that I listen to it, the more that I invest myself into this world of not tapping the glass, this album will one day, let me put it like this. This brand new Tyler, the Creator album is a classic, but as of right now, it is not one yet. Let me explain, because I want to talk about this album in 3 phases. Phase 1 being the kindling. Think about like starting a fire. Like, what was the inception of where Tyler's brain was? What happened in terms of this rollout? And that brings me to phase 2. The rollout. What was this album when it came out? Obviously, the few things kind of leading up into it, from like, let's get to launch date. What has happened since? Phase 3, and I have it here, is the classic. How does this album become a classic? And I think to do that, we need to dive deep into the world of Tyler, the Creator. What was the inception point for making this album? What was the inception point for when he decided to let the world know that this album was coming out? And I know, yes, the rollout to the Kindling does kind of merge in because the titles do kind of seem off, but I hope it all makes sense in due time. So this album, by the way, was nearly a complete surprise. This is coming off the back heels of the brand new Clips album where Tyler had a feature on POV. And if you know Tyler, for anyone that doesn't know Tyler, he has been a huge Clips fan. This was kind of like a all-encompassing moment in a way, like a full circle moment from music that he used to listen to back in the early 2000s, kind of growing up, and early hip hop and rap. And then the Clips just kind of disappeared. So for Pusha T and Malice to have the creative freedom to drop this brand new album, have Tyler featured on the third song of the album, by the way, coming off a Kendrick Lamar verse, this is like, that it's super huge, right? And so we were thinking, especially because last year in October, maybe early November, I think it was late October, like we just got Chromacopia, a very beautiful, elegant magnum opus album. And 10 months later, we're getting a brand new album. This is nuts. Like, I don't know if there's many artists, especially nowadays. Like, I think you would get this a little bit in the late 90s, late 80s, where there were artists like Prince who have like a crap ton of albums or a crap ton of projects. I think that there is difference between albums, mixtapes, obviously singles that, kind of become a little bit more than just a single. And you don't really see that nowadays. You don't really see it in terms of, okay, 10 months later, I'm going to drop a new project. And especially for Tyler, who kind of brings us into new characters, new themes. Obviously, Chromacopia having kind of that soldieristic, almost kind of mask in a way. It is a world that we kind of live in. And so is the world just ever evolving? Is it like an expansion pack to the Creator, Tyler, the Creator universe? It feels like it. Because again, we're off the back heels of this brand new, hold on, before I forget, let me actually turn on my info on my camera just so I could see how long we've been recording. So, all of that to say, we're coming off the back heels of a brand new Clips verse, and it seems like the Clips, Pusha T, Malice, and obviously Tyler, the Creator, were kind of cross-promoting, obviously, that song, because that's kind of what you would do. It seemed like, again, a big moment, a all-encompassing moment for Tyler. And with this brand new album that just came out for the Clips, it's obviously it's a good marketing strategy. They had a fantastic rollout. But when we were getting Tyler, the Creator tweets in a way, we were getting these kind of like semi-cryptic, but kind of like understandably, like you're kind of getting part of the truth, but you're not getting the whole truth. You can kind of understand where that truth might lead, but you don't exactly know where it might lead. There's a few outcomes, and one of these, I guess, cryptic tweets, again, 48 hours notice, he drops July 21st. July 21st is only 2 days from the tweet that when it was out, when that tweet came out, 48 hours. And we're getting again, partial truth. We don't know if this is a brand new song. We don't know if this is a brand new album. There's just so much gray area. We don't exactly know what this gray matter looks like. If you have studied the universe before or know a little bit about it, especially with the ever-expanding observable universe, there is a thing called gray matter or black matter, and it has to be observed to be existing. It's kind of like, think about it like the cat in the box. You put a cat in the box and you let it sit there for 20 days. Is the cat alive or is it dead? You don't know until you actually open up the box to observe it. Think about it like that. So again, there's so much just iffiness to what this cryptic partial truth tweet was. 48 hours from now, we're getting something related to Tyler, the Creator. Is this maybe a clothing brand line? Is this like something huge, maybe with Wolfgang, an Odd Future? Are they linking up again? Who knows? Like, we have no idea. And again, this is very similar to even what happened during the Chromacopia press release. Tyler has been known, especially throughout his past few projects, to just kind of like be like, hey, in like 2 weeks, now 2 days, we're going to be getting a brand new project. You're going to get a full-length album, Call Me If You Get Lost, Chromacopia, Flower Boy, things like that. Like, these are all Igor even. These are very nuanced approaches. They're not just like not like a movie release. They're not like, hey, in 3 months I'm dropping an album. Like I remember even a few years ago when was it probably last year? I think it was last year when we got the Death of Slim Shady. Like that was like a whole month to 2 month like lead up. There's massive lead ups in a lot of different entertainment fields, but for Tyler, he is very not even against the grain. He's just in his own. He's his own type of wood. He has a completely different identity than I think most people would attribute to. Again, most people have, movies like Fantastic Four was like a few year lead up. Like most of the Avengers movies, even big movies like Sinners, Pixar movies, just movies that have a budget to kind of do that, first of all. But then even again, like even myself, like I have, a few weeks lead up because that's kind of what I can vie. But then you would think that somebody as big as him, like especially with like JID, who's been almost, how would I say it? Like his rollout's been like, okay, remember, we kind of have this segment. We have this segment of this album's coming out. Then we have this another segment this album's also coming out. And so, again, there's long lead ups to a lot of these big projects. And Tyler, again, 48 hours notice. This is coming off of a Barclays Center Chromacopia tour. Mind you, he's on the Chromacopia tour right now. He just performed in Toronto a few days ago. He was going up through the Barclays Center, and he, again, dropped the announcement that this is coming out. But again, most people at the concert, if you've, been on your phone, it's usually in between sets. But I'm assuming like this probably happened like right before he went on. So most everyone at the concert had no idea. And the funny thing is, especially in this phase one, the kindling, like, okay, I'm kind of getting excited for this project, whatever it may be. He has this side set and he goes through a bunch of vinyls. And one of the vinyls is the album cover to Don't Tap the Glass. And as he's flipping through, you see the Rocky albums, you see just albums that he grew up listening, albums that he really attributes to his own success. And he flips through it and just kind of like scratches his, head to kind of buy some time, to kind of put focus on it. And people, obviously, after the announcement came out, they realized like, oh my gosh, like that's what was in that video. And so people obviously find these puzzle pieces. And so again, he teased this with the vinyl. And as the concert's ending, everyone from Barclays Center goes, obviously into the main corridors, out of the stadium, out of the center, not the stadium, the arena. And they see this action figure icon for Don't Tap the Glass, which obviously is the album cover's main character. Some people have pointed it to the first title track in Big Poe. Who knows what the character name is for this album? And it's super interesting because the action figure is in a glass box. And you're seeing a bunch of these, advertisements around the arena that say, don't tap the glass. And are people taking that literally? Are people like, I could imagine people being confused, like being there like, oh, I'm not supposed to tap the glass. Like, that's what the rules say. Like, don't tap it. It's almost kind of like don't click the red button. It kind of reminds me of that game. And people were finding out, they were looking up like Tyler, Don't Tap the Glass, or Tyler, like new project. And they found this website through his means. He maybe put out a link, but it's, there's a word that was spelt wrong. It was like capital B, capital E, A-T. So it was beat. And it was like saying it's like you spelt it wrong. So I had to fix it. So people found this website and there was 3 rules on it. Body movement, no sitting still. Okay, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is only speak in glory. Leave your baggage at home. Number 3, of course, most important, don't tap the glass. We're just kind of wondering, what does this mean? Body movement, no sitting still. I think now it's so obvious. 2, that this album, again, in rule 2, when he kind of says it as you're tapping the glass, you kind of hear this, none of that deep shit in the background. Just Tyler just talking, just like in the back in the corner, like, oh, none of that deep shit. And you start to wonder, okay, this is probably not going to be a concept album. Tyler does confirm that through a tweet. And we just kind of have to wait. We kind of have to wait. So that brings us to phase 2. We have started to build this kindling, and now we get into what I would call the rollout. The rollout, in my mind, is now that we kind of are stepping into the world of don't tap the glass, this brand new world that we're kind of being introduced, like Chromacopia and again, all of his past projects, we're in this world. And I want to understand how this world operates. Again, we've already seen the rules. We understand what we're trying to expect heading into this project. Again, releasing on the 21st. Do we know what time it's going to be out at like 9 p.m. my time? Because I live in Washington. That's Pacific Standard Time. So luckily I get music very early. I don't have to wait until 12 noon or 12 midnight Eastern Time. And so it's super awesome. But we get a tweet that this album will be coming out at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is kind of early. Again, 3 a.m. for me. I'm usually up at that time. But here's the thing. This is not out of the ordinary. For Tyler, that is. Again, somebody who is his own wood. It's his own grain that he's running with. This is not any different than what Chromacopia had. Like, this was also, again, a project that was very early in release, had 2 weeks notice, with Noid, with just kind of the semi-Chromacopia marching into like this container, and then of course the big boom. And it's not any different than what the Chromacopia had. Again, just less time in the rollout. And what I mean by no different is that Chromacopia also came out like in the morning. So people like woke up to listen to it. And so he even put a tweet out saying like, I don't care if it doesn't come out that time. Like, go to bed, wake up, and it's going to be there. And there happened to be this email that was being sent out for some reason. I think it has something to do with the test pressing version, which was kind of like a semi-vinyl. Like there seemed to be a test presser for this. Think about it like a company going out, like, which logo do you like? That's kind of my thoughts on it. And so there happened to be this leaked email that maybe wasn't so true. Complex, a pretty big media brand known for their coverage in hip hop and rap and entertainment, they released this photo that apparently they got from a email. I guess you wouldn't say it's a leaked email. Maybe the email was not supposed to go out, but it did. So it's more like not necessarily a leaked email where like I have this email and I need to tell people about it. Speaking of that, I probably should check my email. I feel like I'm waiting on a pretty important email. All right, we're good. But all of that to say, we just got this brand new, album, brand new project, and a leak feature comes out, and it has a bunch of different artists, Kendrick Lamar being on it, and people are speculating, like when he was in New York, like when he was going to the studio, that was for this album, and there happened to be, No Malice on there, the Pusha T's on there, Earl Sweatshirt's on there, and they had this kind of like phases in a way, like phase 1, 2, 3, or like section 1, 2, 3, very similar to like the rules. But Tyler came out and said that's not true. None of these people are on the album. And it's kind of crazy because in a way, if I look that up, let me do Don't Tap the Glass Complex track list, maybe if I could find it there. Maybe because there was like a leaked, here it is. Okay. That's actually kind of crazy because literally Tyler comes out and says that none of these people are on this. I did not post this info and I don't know where you got this from to confirm it. So the people that are apparently, so this was also the track list and also the people like featured on it. And pretty much every single song has a feature, which is kind of crazy. So it starts with Body Movement, again, kind of going through those rules. Body Movement, Don't Sit Still featuring Kendrick Lamar. Idling featuring Malice. Marathon/Treadmill featuring Lil Wayne. Part 2, Only Speak in Glory. Leave Your Baggage at Home. No, that is actually a song that has no features, the only one on this fake set list. Be Real featuring Pusha T. Champagne/Replica featuring Steve Lacy. Again, another West Coast artist. Don't Tap the Glass is part 3. Broken Windows featuring Bren Fayaz. Open Up featuring Bad Bad No Not Good. Drive Through featuring Lola Young. Through My Lens featuring Earl Sweatshirt. You cannot tell me by looking at that is not instantly fake. Like, you cannot convince me that is not instantly fake. Like, it is so on the nose. It's like so on the nose. Body Movement. Don't Sit Still, the first song. You couldn't come up with anything else. the marathon treadmill. Like, that's just like, okay, like what would you be doing for like a really long time? Probably a marathon. Only speak in glory. Leave your baggage at home. Again, that's just a part of the rules. Like, you're not that creative. I would understand that it could be, but it's like so on the nose that like it doesn't make any fucking sense. Two, the other one, broken windows, because like tapping the glass, open up a window, drive through because you open up a window for a drive through my lens because glass, like they're just like, you're playing with just like glass themes or body movement themes or like being real, because like the Be Real featuring Pusha T on that. And again, Tyler came out to say that that is not the set list. That is, track list. There's none of those features, which there are none of those features that was premiered in this post. And the thing was, the hard part is because he also did this for Chromacopia. There happen to be some similarities. I wouldn't say it's 100% accurate. I don't know. I don't think that there was anything that like was major to be like, yeah, that was kind of fake. Whereas Chromacopia, again, that was pretty on par. This one's entirely fake. So the album drops. It's 6 a.m. Album drops. People are listening. Then he drops a music video of Stop Playing With Me. And this features people like Braun, The Clips, Maverick Carter, who's LeBron's lifelong friend and manager. Again, I would not get that confused with Rich Paul. I say Rich the Paul like Rich the Plug or Rich the Kid. But Rich Paul is his agent. Agent is different than a manager. For anyone confused, like, oh, like, wait, isn't Rich Paul his manager? No, Rich Paul is his agent. Maverick Carter, lifelong friend of LeBron James, is his manager. And this is pretty cool because, like, as this is coming out, like, people are talking about it on Tyler's Instagram. Like, every single time that you would like his post, it became like this glass heart that was like broken. And that, I thought that was really cool. A few days later, we'll get to the track list here in a sec, but a few days later, he's just kind of been uploading these mini retro kind of like 90s style, like almost like home videos. And they're in the same room that the Stop Playing With Me music videos in. And the funny part that I love is that the Big Poe has like the same mustache and goatee that Edgar Allan Poe, slender kind of head. This guy has no hair, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So we've had one for glass tapping, Don't Tap the Glass. It's almost kind of like these diary entries in a way. So we have one for Don't Tap That Glass, which is song number 7, Sucker Free, song number 3, Ring Ring Ring, song number 6, Big Poe, the intro track, and Tweakin', which is the second part of Don't Tap That Glass on song 7. And I love it. This is like so funny to me. I'm sure there's probably meaning in the other people and their style, their character, the look and feel that they have. But again, these are just like mini retro, like American Home videos. You could even attribute it to like late 90s, early 2000s. And it kind of brings us into the world that the style of music is in. And I think it's super important because if we're looking at the track list, again, there's not really a concept to this. There's none of that deep shit that Tyler says. There's not a concept to this track list. And if you're looking at it from top to bottom, you can kind of be like, oh, okay. Now that you listen to it, you're like, oh, okay. There's not really like a certain concept. But there is meaning to each song, like there usually is. So what's the intentionality of each song? I think that is super important to understand. What do they mean in the terms of Tyler's life? But also taking into account what they mean for this character and the world that we're living in. So there happens to be this really funny story about will.i.am and Tyler, the Creator, where back in the day, Tyler was like super wowed by a Black Eyed Peas album, maybe even song. And he put out a tweet. will.i.am and him, obviously sat down, and will.i.am was like, you would kind of not really make it anywhere. Maybe, I don't exactly know. But there's maybe like some beef or a bet that like, I'll bet him $1,000 that like I am making music, 10 years later and whatnot. And so it's kind of funny because when we talk about the world that we're living in, body movement, only speak in glory, Don't Tap That Glass, what does it mean? Because it's not a concept album, but it still has to mean something. You're not just saying something just to say something. But that's exactly what this album is. It is saying something without saying something about something that needs to be said. I hope that makes sense. Apparently, we're not supposed to think about this too deeply, but you gave us rules. They have to mean something, but they don't mean something. And it's almost kind of like the way that like 6-7 is a joke. It's like there's no meaning behind it, but it's still a joke. Like the joke is that there isn't a joke. I hope that makes sense. Let's put it together here on the track list because it opens up with Big Poe. This is featuring Pharrell Williams. And mind you, this song is flavorful. It's very nice. The one thing that I would say is it's world building. You told us Don't Tap the Glass. It has this retro arcade game. I think Don't Tap That Glass, with a post that Tyler, the Creator, put out, talking about how most people like don't really want to dance, don't let their body just feel free because, anyone can be turned into a meme, which we're going to talk about later today in today's episode. But I just kind of view it as like, Don't Tap the Glass as like the glass, on our phones, tapping, on our phones to, like posts, see other people's lives, like memes. And so I think the world that we're living in is, okay, we're living in a retro arcade game. It just feels like I put a coin in and somebody's giving me the intro rules. That's what this feels like. Big Poe is that song. It's world building. Then we switch on to Sugar on My Tongue. This song is pretty raunchy. It's pretty sexual. But if you don't look too deep into it like we did with Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar, this is just like a song to dance, bro. This song is just to dance, and a lot of people kind of almost felt like the intro and the beat was almost sampled by My Humps, which is obviously a Black Eyed Peas song, which is kind of funny. But all of that to say, this song is just to dance. It's to dance. Let's dance. Like, I remember, like, when I was listening to it, I reacted to it, and this song is just like, like, I just want to move. I want to dance. I want to just, like, enjoy the music. Sucker Free. This is like a braggadocious type song, but without the braggadocious style and feel. It's more or less in the lyrics. And if we look at the lyrics, I'm sure I always suck at singing songs without the beat, but I got it. I'm that guy trying to get my paper, baby. I'm that guy for everything. I don't know if everything is the right lyrics. The first time that I listened to it was for really. I'm that guy trying to get my paper, baby. I'm that guy for everything. I don't think it's everything. I'm going to say that right now. I think it is for really. I think so. Second one's on a Tuesday. I'm getting that paper. Again, the song, the melody, the harmony, a part of it, especially in that chorus, the post-chorus, all of that. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm that guy trying to get my paper. I'm that guy for everything. Like, it doesn't feel like this very braggadocious, almost like kind of like New York rap kind of sounds like. And so Sucker Free goes into Momonym, which I feel is more of a interlude than a full song. It's only, I think, like a minute and a half. It's really not that long, which is kind of surprising. Let me see if I can open it up here because, again, we're in my room right now. This is not normally where I record this podcast. But yeah, it's only like a minute and 16 seconds. It's really not that long. That's by far the shortest song. Every single song is basically double that in time, but two of them. No, but one of them, which is Stop Playing With Me. Because, again, with the interlude of Momonym, who, again, I feel like he's throwing shots at Ian, I think. Wait, is it that song? I don't know if it's that song. It's the Gonna Get Clipped Today. Oh, yeah, it is. That fella gonna get clipped today. Ah-ha, oh, Tay. That fella gonna get clipped today. Like, that's the rain, go away type of vibe. But then, again, that interlude goes into Stop Playing With Me, which I don't really know how else to put it. But that's exactly what the song meant. Like, stop playing with Tyler. That's what he wants you to know. And so, again, we talk about the music video, having Braun, having Mav Carter, having the clips, people that, feel like they're on his side in a way. Nice little surprise guest appearances, which I always feel like I love. Like, I love guest appearances in music videos, in movies, that, even if it's for like a second. Like, when I was in drama and theater, I would take like the role that had with like 3 lines, and I would try to make those like few lines, the few words that I had, be like the most iconic. That was like my main goal, because then I don't have to worry about anything but those like 3 lines. So, all of that to say, stop playing with me, exactly what it says. Ring, ring, ring. This is where I feel the turn of the album kind of comes in. A little bit of a tone shift. Leave your baggage at home. I think in the terms of leaving your baggage at home, it's like feel free dancing, enjoying the music. But Tyler, I think, is one person that did not leave his baggage at home, because these last 5 songs, 6 through 10, are the exact opposite of leaving your baggage at home. We have Ring, Ring, Ring. It's talking about missing someone. Ring, 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 ring. Pick up the phone. Ring, 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 ring. Pick up the phone. Hello. Just something like, it feels like he's obviously missing someone. He's reminiscing on this ex that he, was together with. And, I think for most people that get out of a relationship, especially anything that is a significant amount of time, where you build that connection, you build a sense of responsibility with, you build a connection with, in terms of you rely on them. For that person to be gone and out of your life, like in this song, which I always like, before you go and walk out. Oh, that is not how the song goes. But before you go and walk out my life, I want to tell you how much I love you. I don't know if that, again, I cannot sing a song without a beat. It's like my one kryptonite, especially anytime I bring up lyrics. But I love this song. Operator, operator, operator. There are some dance moves that could definitely be like operator, operator, operator. I like it. And again, missing someone. But then we go into Don't Tap That Glass. This is usually a song, again, that has a split. It's a 2-parter. And this is usually song number 10. But there's only 10 songs on this album. There's not a whole lot. But this is the first time that the streak has been broken from song 10 to song 7. And this is what I would like to call Don't Tap That Glass, is like the rule setting. Again, making sure that you obviously don't tap that glass. Don't mess with me, because I've said this in my initial reaction to the entire album. I feel like Don't Tap the Glass, again, it has a few meanings. I've kind of found out the glass one with your phones, and obviously, tapping the glass to, be on social media, record things. Don't Tap That Glass and having Tyler as this character inside, again, I think people have kind of pointed that to Big Poe. This character that we see on the album cover that was outside the Barclays Center in glass. Don't tap it, because you're messing with someone on the other side. Whether that is the comments, whether that is that you're literally poking the bear. I've seen those videos where people are like knocking on glass at like zoos and like the animal kind of comes up. That kind of reminds me of the feeling of like, this is the rule set, don't tap that glass. Even though that you feel like you want to poke the bear, don't let your intrusive thoughts win, because when you do, Tyler's going to start tweaking, and he's going to talk about how successful his career is, how obviously what he's done as an artist has transcended himself, but also transcended the landscape of music. I hope that makes sense. I feel like that makes sense. And so we, again, feel like another shift. So we go ring, 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 missing someone, baggage. Then we go Don't Tap That Glass, rule setting, successful career. But then we these last 3 songs are just all about love. They're all about love. Every single one of them. We have Don't You Worry Baby featuring Madison McFerrin. This is what I would say, like taking care of one another. But then we have I'll Take Care of You featuring Yeba, which I would attribute to loving someone limitlessly. It feels like agape, unconditional love towards one another. And it kind of feels like, again, we kind of got the same messages. Don't You Worry Baby is a little freaky, but it's a nice song. And then again, we go to I'll Take Care of You. And then our final song, tell me what it is. Making sure that he chose the right person. Because people have, came and gone throughout his life in a more romantic sense. How does he know that he's choosing the right one? You would not know if you don't pursue it. And that's that's kind of the hard part I feel like Tyler is dealing with, because it feels like there's a lot of people that love him, from friendships to romantic partners. There is a sense of responsibility on his part because he probably is the more famous one in the relationship, granted. And so, these are nice songs. And again, he tells us not to look at this. He tells us not to look at it in the terms of like deep conceptual album, but I feel like Don't Tap in the Glass means something. And so let's go to phase 3, because this album, off first listen, only 30 minutes. This album wasn't my favorite. Like, I was just kind of really underwhelmed when I first listened to it. But there was a few songs that kept me, what's the saying? Kept me coming back? Is that the saying? There's a few songs like Ring, 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 Big Poe, Sugar on My Tongue. All of these songs gave me a sense of like, okay, I'm going to like come back. I'm going to listen to this. And what is in my like songs right now? Because I could definitely tell. Yeah, Big Poe, Sugar on My Tongue, Stop Playing With Me, and Ring, Ring, Ring. These are like by far my favorite songs on the album that I would like care to listen to a lot. Because like people talk about albums with no skips. I think most albums do have skips. But off first listen, there was definitely a weak point. And that to me was Tell Me What It Is. Just because the song is beautiful once you get into it, but I just have a hard time getting into it. And so those few songs kept me coming back, the music video, the album, rollout, and I didn't like it off first listen. But those songs got me back into it, kept me coming back. And this album has grown on me. So how do I go from this album that I'm like, I appreciate, I don't necessarily know if I like, to loving pretty much every song? Like, I can listen to all of these songs and just jam out. Like, I've been working over the past 4 days, just constantly listening to this album. And there's something that keeps me coming back. Even though I know that there's a bunch of music heads, bunch of music reviewers out there that I've listened to, I want to get their thoughts on it. There seemed to be a rather mixed opinion about it, especially because for people that enjoy Tyler, this whole rollout during the Chromacopia tour, this brand new characters, brand new album, I don't feel like we got time to sit with Chromacopia. But is there a purpose behind that? I think that there is. Tyler came out probably a few months ago, on whatever podcast it may have been. And he was talking about how when that project came out, he's already working on the next. He's already been working on the next. So when Chromacopia came out, he probably had the concept or some idea, because we get this little ratata, we get this I'm that guy type of vibe. Very early 2025, like where we're still ingesting Chromacopia. We're still off the tail ends of even GNX and the song that he did in terms of his remix of Hey Now. And so what this kind of gave me was the idea in the seed that was planted in Tyler. Pause. Not that way, but the idea and the conception, the inception of Don't Tap the Glass. He mentioned in an Instagram, post about like how some of his friends kind of are a little bit too embarrassed to dance, and he wanted to make something. And I think that we're living so in the present now that it's not taking years to make these projects. Typically took 2 years. Chromacopia took 3, but now we're making up for lost time. We're making up for lost time. But again, after listening to these reviews, I was like, man, people really did not like this album. Like, people are saying it's like the worst album he's dropped since like way back in 2015, 2013. And I'm like, man, it's kind of crazy to me that how two people can listen to like the same thing with semi of the same expectations and have a completely different opinion about it. Like, some people are saying it was like really bad. I was like, man, like that was not my experience. There was one thing that I always felt like growing up was, let's say there was someone in high school or someone in middle school, you know, as drama-filled as it does get if you've lived through those years. There is this sense of like, oh, like people don't like that person for whatever reason they have. And typically, you know, other people will kind of, you know, latch onto that thought. And, you know, there's some people that don't care. There's some people that I feel, and I would say I kind of fall into this group, where there is people and there are people out there that have to judge people based on your experience with them. And I think that's completely fair. I think that there is a sense of responsibility from you as a person, and you may not know it yet if you haven't gone through high school, if there's moments that you're like, look back on, but I think that there is a sense of responsibility to make right by those that you have met, you have interacted with based on your own experience. And I struggle with that a lot, especially as a content creator, simply because everyone's content is out there. And you kind of judge them based on what they put out. And so like content is the complete opposite, because you base everything on what everything other people have thoughts on. You base it on the content that they put out, and that's kind of all you can judge them on. And so it gets incredibly hard as a content creator to do that. But when I'm listening to the thoughts and reviews on this, I was like, man, I thought this album was good. Do I think it was great off first listen? No. And I was like, okay, I got to do my due diligence, and I have to go back through this album without making any content, just enjoying it by the whimsical seat in these headphones. The headphones that I wear, that only come out of my right side. Like, I hear nothing on my left side. I hear nothing on my left side. I could only ever hear anything out of my right side, which is really fun. So, all of that to say, this album, again, might not be a classic now, but it will be one day. I think that we will look back into this past year in hip-hop. Kendrick Lamar dropping GNX. He dropped a little teaser, and then 10 minutes later, dropped the entire album. Like, what in the world? On top of that, we have JID doing probably the first Prelux I've seen in his God Does Like Ugly album. He did a 4-song Prelux, like the songs that typically did not make the album. He did a Prelux instead of a Deluxe that most artists do. Tyler, the Creator, Don't Tap the Glass with Chromacopia, and obviously this album that we're talking about. You know, short in nature, true at heart. This is the world that we're living in. And I feel like the styles of drops have continuously evolved. Like, as myself, dropping music, dropping videos, I'm like, how can I not necessarily master this, but how can I understand it, use it my own way? And all of that to say, this album did 215,000 units in less than 1 week, because Tyler's also been one of those people that's like, let's get back to Tuesday release dates. I think, this is just me, I think songs and albums, or any form of music, box office even, should be, and I understand the structure that they have, but I think it's so easy with what we have now, data-wise, the ability to just do stuff, you know, very algorithmically. I think it's very possible to just do whatever release date it was on. If it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day it's on, I think it's very possible just to count it from that day to that day. And so then every single time, every week, you track that Tuesday at 6 a.m. EST. I think it's incredibly easy to do. And I hate that it's not. Do I have any power in that? Absolutely not. Music heads, entertainment, I have no say in that. So this album is projected to reach 215. Let's do Don't Tap the Glass units sold. Let's see. Okay, DTTG. That's giving me something Dutch. Don't tap the glass. Don't tap the glass. Let's see how many units it sold. These are all from like 2 days ago. So I guess some people are saying a little north of 200,000, which makes a lot of sense. 215K, I think, is what I saw predicted. But this album is really nice. I really enjoy it. The dancey music, it's got me moving. Like, all of the choruses got me singing. And I really appreciate this album. I really do. But Another thing that I do appreciate, and I want to give you guys an update on Grand Slam track. I want to give you guys an update on this because I spoke about it a few podcast episodes ago that they are in a binding hold. There's issues with athletes getting paid. I think I maybe talked about it in a short form content, maybe not on the podcast, but in short, Grand Slam track is a track league, specifically only to track events, but they need some type of structure. So what they do is they do sprinting events. So they have sprinting, short sprints, long sprints, and then they also have distance running, short distance, long distance, and then they also have the hurdles. It's pretty much what they have right now. And basically, the male side and a women's side, and a males and female side, males and female side of the coin. And there's usually racers that are signed on to the Grand Slam track roster. And then there's a bunch of challengers, people like Jennifer Prandini. I almost said Stephanie. Jennifer Prandini, one of my favorite athletes. She was a challenger at the second meet, and basically, you can come for a meet and go challenge yourself and challenge some of the racers because they think that they have the best. So if you want to compete against the best, come and join us. And so they have a handful of people on roster, and then obviously they fill out the roster for those meets, the heat sheets with other challengers. And typically these things are a 3-day event. They have stuff on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That was pretty typical. They then narrowed it down to just 2 days. But all of that to say, that's just wishy-washy information. But there was some cancellations on the back half. There's supposed to be 4 Grand Prix meets or Grand Slam meets. Kind of interesting because it's a baseball term. But Grand Slam meets, there's only 3 of them. The 4th one in LA got canceled, which LA is very notorious, especially for their Coliseum, the track venue that they have. And unfortunately, it got canceled. And this is also coming off of the Miami and Philadelphia that was supposed to be 3 days that got turned into 2. And a lot of people were wondering, like, why is that? Apparently, there is a missing $13 million. This $13 million that's supposed to be owed to all of the athletes and challengers, the prize winnings, has not fully gone out yet. Now, is it $13 million in total? No. Some money has been, awarded to those that have won. And the unfortunate part is that there's still a lot of money on the table that has not been paid. And we have the update as to why. An investor pulled out. An investor that, obviously was investing their money, hopefully making more money. And think about it like stocks. You're investing $13 million and probably maybe a little less than that. But let's say they invest $5 million, $10 million. That money was supposed to go to winnings so that, you spend money to make money so that you spend those $10 million. $13 million is missing. And, eventually that would recoup, later on throughout the years. It's just like a stock, something that you invest in. But an investor pulled out after the very first Grand Slam track meet. Kingston was a little bit of a dud in terms of the attendance. I think it was a great first track meet. Was there some kinks that you could probably work out? I think so. However, I think it was a great meet. The athletes competed well. But the unfortunate part is that they decided that their money was not going to be invested no longer. And so Grand Slam track was scrambling. Obviously, with all of the things that I just mentioned, the cancellation of Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and I think maybe Miami going from a 3-day to a 2-day. Some people obviously just wondering that why is there staff cuts like mid-season? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like you typically do that before or after. But now we have an answer. And I don't know if they wanted that answer to be out. I think it's good that it's out. People aren't just like blaming people for Michael Johnson being the CEO, the president of the company, the guy that has been the spokesperson, pretty much the face of this league. I think it's good that we finally know that the blame is not entirely on him. It's not like they mismanage funds. But what I am concerned about is that investor did not have a binding contract. So typically when you invest into things like this, you create a binding contract between you and that person and their money. Think about it like, I don't even know how to put like a good analogy to it. But there's a bind between that person, their money, and the company or whatever you're investing in. I'm going to bind $5 million to this company. I'm willing to lose it. Think about it like a gamble. Think about like you're gambling. You're putting in that amount of money and you're hoping that at some point you gain some back. So this is very maybe bad mismanagement from that standpoint. But yeah, that's very scary because, you hope that the athletes do get the money that they are. It's not like somebody could just pull out like $13 million out of their ass. Maybe Michael Johnson can put something together. Maybe someone can step in and obviously cover that. But I think this track league is great. I think that the concept is great. Were they a little bit too large for their filling? Maybe. Maybe they were too large for their own shoes. I think that's very possible, but again, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful track league. We have Athos coming in October, which I think that one has a little bit more money side of it, and I know that Tara Davis Woodall and Athos and a lot of people from that side have had very much concerns and beef with, Grand Slam track, simply because there's no field events. People are, preying on the downfall of Grand Slam track, and I know Tara and Hunter, they're married. They're big track figures, and they have been very outspoken that there's not a savior to track. I think a little bit of that is ego. Noah Lyles has even said I'm worth more money to be on that roster. If you want to grow the sport, especially early adoption, you are going to have to sacrifice a little bit. And unfortunately, I think Grand Slam track in a way was trying to overcompensate. I think that there's things that are true on both sides. Do I think Grand Slam track is saving track? I don't think that. I think that's just more of a marketing ploy than it is actually more of a statement. The other side of it is that Grand Slam track, again, was a little bit compensating for a few things, like Lord Farquaad's castle. And so the problem with it is that the attention is on the drama between the two companies. Now then what is good? This is how the internet typically works. This is how most people typically work if the internet weren't a thing. Most people are probably concerned and focusing on what is going wrong than what is going right. Think about it like there's an airplane theory scenario. I think like Survivor theorist. I think is it Survivor? I don't exactly know what it's called, but so a plane, goes out to war, comes back, and they're looking for places that they need to refortify, and they notice a bunch of bullet holes. So that's what they do. They fill all the bullet holes because they're like, oh my goodness, we need to repair this. But the what's the paradox? The paradox is that the plane also came back after taking, all of these bullet holes. So we don't need to refortify that area. We need to refortify other areas. It's kind of like a smoking gun. Just because the gun is smoking doesn't mean that the gun was shot. In a way. So that's kind of like the paradox that people are so gung-ho on what's wrong because that is the smoking gun. They have no money. Oh my gosh, they're compensated. They never had money in the first place. They had money, investor pulled out. Now we have the full story. But that's all that I have on Grand Slam track. There is another thing that I do want to talk about because I think this is the funniest thing. We just had probably the meme of the summer, meme of the year even, with the CEO of Astronomer and the head of HR, which is so freaking funny. Those two were caught at a Coldplay concert in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And it's so funny because the head of HR and the CEO are having an affair. And this was super big because of their reaction. Chris Martin obviously talking about maybe they're in an affair. Maybe they're having an affair or they're just extremely shy. Because why would one have that reaction where the guy, the CEO, kind of ducks his head down behind the awning, the railing, and then the girls, the head of HR is just oh my gosh, I can't believe. The memes are so freaking funny. And so, as a result of that, we have probably one of the greatest twist of fates because the Astronomer team, I've heard that there's been reports that everyone in the group chat was laughing their ass off. They were this was coming, we knew. But again, most people in companies like that, especially against the CEO and maybe even head of HR, somebody that can fire both people, they could probably fire you if they find a good reason. They were laughing. They were laughing because now with all of this happening, the head of HR getting suspended, the CEO stepping down, also getting suspended, but then stepping down, the company just released a video featuring their brand new interim spokesperson, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow. This company turned this meme on its head. And I think that this is great for marketing because now everyone's talking about it. But why are people talking about like, Gwyneth Paltrow? Like, yeah, she sells vagina water candles. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, okay. Chris and Gwen were married. Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, and Gwyneth Paltrow were married for quite a significant amount of time, almost 15 years. They have 2 kids. Mind you, they have, I just found out their kids' names. It's Apple and Moses. Apple? Who names their kid Apple? There's got to be a meaning for it, but off of no context, very interesting name. So, all of that to say, they were nearly together for 15 years, from 03. They were kind of together in 02, got married in 03. They technically uncoupled in 14, but then finally divorced in 2016. So, pretty interesting because, that's the little connection there. Gwyneth Paltrow being now the spokesperson, Chris Martin being the lead singer that kind of spawned in this iconic meme, and now Astronomer. The video is so funny. They're like, God, we understand you have lots of questions. We want to get to them and want to clear up any bad news that you might have heard or something similar to that. And they're like, they get to the first question. How is your social media team holding up? Oh, the data analysts it's going great. I'm glad that you guys want to learn more. Like, they just play onto this meme. I think it's super funny. I think it's super classy from that team because, again, it's not the entire team's fault just because the CEO and the head of HR are having an affair. Does not make that the entire team's fault. Like what? Like I'm going to hold the CEO accountable? If I do, I'm out of a job. So, yeah, that's pretty fun. I hope that you guys did enjoy a little bit of that fun meme nature. I think it's been super fun. Apparently, there's some stuff that I want to also talk about very shortly here before we end off here. But Venmo. This is some fun stuff. Venmo is now apparently an acceptable way for to pay the U.S., to pay off the national debt. You can now go to like the U.S. Treasury website and pay off part of the national debt via Venmo, which is super funny. There was a Chuck E. Cheese mascot in Tallahassee, Florida that got arrested on the job for credit card fraud. In also relation to that, he also had a small amount of marijuana on him. He also racked up $106 on a forgotten debit card from a lady at Chuck E. Cheese. Just super funny. He got caught on the job. I could imagine all of the kids just being mortified. Oh, no, Chucky. What's happening? Kids are scarred for life. They're going to have to find a new mascot ASAP. This is also pretty interesting because TikToker Henson James, who you guys might know for like the screaming people, he goes into the businesses and screams and everyone's like looking around and he kind of plays along. They have a backup screamer like Tifu's been in videos. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Ed Sheeran's in the video. But he's had a few videos that landed him in some trouble. His real name is Henson James. He's facing up to 9 years in jail for a pranking spree in the Arizona area. He's being charged with 5 counts of disorderly conduct, 5 counts of criminal trespass, 2 counts of criminal impersonation, and 1 count of burglary. Super odd. Burglary is interesting. I don't know I don't know where the line is on burglary there. Like, I don't know where, like, burglary to me is like holding somebody, at gunpoint and like or like stealing it, whatever it is. But I don't exactly know where the line's drawn for that. Maybe he is actually guilty of that. But free bro, man. These videos have been so fun. Yeah, maybe they'd go a little bit along the lines like a headache. And just like, oh my gosh, like he brings in a whole bunch of guys to like a car shop and be like, you guys are doing this wrong. Or he goes to like Target and impersonates, like somebody from the district region and whatnot. So it's been incredibly, those videos are so funny. Like I am locked in every single time. But all that to say, I do hope that you guys did enjoy today's episode. Episode 80 of The Realest Podcast. Sal is right behind me. Leave your thoughts on anything that we talked about in the comment section below. Most importantly, Nation, I hope you guys have a great week. And I will see you guys next Sunday. Have a good one. 07 and peace.